Hey, hi, everyone. Welcome to the EA Global Summit 2021. This is Mohammed from organizing team. So, before we start, as a part of the organizing team, I would like to thank everyone for your interest and joining us for the session. So, this session is all about the basics of MDG, which is where the deeper insights will be shared by Ajinisha, who is an EA consultant. So with regards to the session, we will be muting all the participants throughout the session. And if there is any queries or if you would like to discuss, you can also always post your queries and topics in the chat box along with it. So we will be posting the dedicated teams channel link where you will be able to get in touch with Ajinisha once the session is over, as all the presenters will be available on the Teams for next hour of time. So if you have any difficulties with regards to accessing the Teams link or with regards to the chat box, you can always drop an email to registration@eaglobalsummit.com. So thanks once again for the interest and the support. And Ajinisha, now you can start continuing your presentation. And the stage is yours. You can start now. Yes, I can see the presentation screen, and you are welcome to start.
Okay, that's great. Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session, the basis of MDG. I am Ajinisha Mohammed Sultan as an EA consultant from Sparx Systems, India. I have a firm experience in different types of modeling and customization in EA. The agenda for this session are: why do we go for MDG? How to customize the MDG in EA? And at the last, how do you go ahead and install the MDG in Prolaborate? The first thing we need to know is, why do we go for MDG for an organization? For any organization, a single framework cannot fulfill all needs. So we require multiple framework for an organization, which is pretty complex work by switching across the frameworks. Hence, we go for building our own MDG, which suits our specific domain. For example, in our organization, we need to create a framework, say with the name XYZ, where we'll be using Archimate Business Process Framework and BPM and activity and UML component. Instead of switching to different frameworks, we would create a single MDG with specific stereotype names and with their attributes, wherein now in our organization, all would be familiar with the stereotype names that's given in the MDG. Finally, now we'll be having a single toolbox, or as per the organization needs, we can have the multiple toolbox. So this is our final output of the MDG with different toolbox and with different diagram types. And we can also create a sub diagram types with its specific toolbox. Toolbox can be customized by having all the layers or a specified layer with its relevant artifacts and the connectors. To get this customized diagram and the toolbox, first we need to create a meta model. Before you start creating a meta model, it is necessary to do some preparatory works. For that, we need to gather architectural requirements of an organization. Once the requirements are gathered, next we need to define the meta model. Meta modeling is nothing but analyzing, constructing, and development of frames with some rules and constraints. And it's useful for modeling a predefined class of problems. As you all know, there are 4 layers of meta model, namely the user object layer as M0, the user model layer as M1, and the meta model layer is EL2. I'm sorry, it's M2. The meta model layer is M3. And the UML meta model sits at M2 layer. This is a sample meta model diagram using UML notations. This is also an example of a BAIT model where you have vision layer, which is high-level decision making and planning. And the next is a business layer, which allows you to design the business architecture with internal business function and their process. And another one is the application layer, which defines the applications and their interfaces, and also defines how application supports the business layer. And the last will be the technology layer, where we define the systems, hardware, and software communications and their supporting applications. Each layer has its own artifacts with a unique stereotype name, and each stereotype are specified with their attributes, tag values, and its connector directions. Once the meta model is completed, we then go ahead and customize the toolbox. With multiple tag values, shape scripts, and connectors in Enterprise Architect tool. And the next step is to incorporate the MDG into the repository. Once this is done, we can start modeling the works or push the data into the repository. These are the steps that we need to follow for defining an MDG technology. We need to save the profiles, diagram profiles, and the toolbox profile as an XML file. And then we need to call all these XML files into an MDG technology. Using MDG technology creation wizard, and then deploy the MDG technology into the repository. To create a stereotype profile in EA, we use model wizard, from which you can create basic models that you can develop further. So in enterprise architecture, using the model wizard, we can create a MDG template. We have 2 templates in enterprise architect tool, namely starter template and a basic template. Using the basic template is preferable, wherein you have an element profile, a diagram profile, and a toolbox profile that will incorporate into the MDG technology file. The pattern allows a modeler to customize the element type and define a new diagram type with customized toolbox that contains the stereotyped elements. The easiest way to work with all the different profiles is to use the profile helper, which is available in the diagram toolbox. The profile toolbox is used in creating a profile for extending the UML models. Now, let's go into the model and check how can we create a model wizard. So for that, let me go ahead and open up the EA repository. Yeah. So in this repository, we have a model. This is known as a root node. Just click on this icon, which is a new model for patterns over here, or the shortcut key is Control-Shift+M. Just click on that. You can find the model wizard. As you know, I have just created here with the perspectives over here. In the management, you have the MDG Technology Builder. Either you can go by this way or just click all and search for MDG. Just type MDG. So this is what I said. It is a starter template or a basic template. So over here, I'm going to go with the basic template. Click create pattern, and it is asking for the technology name over here. And for me, I'm just giving it as EAGS as a technology name over here. And I'm clicking it on OK. So now in the project browser, you can see the 3 packages that has been displayed, namely profile, diagram profile, and the toolbox profile. So now go ahead and double click or open up the profile diagram. Now in the toolbox, if you see the profile helper, you have MDG Technology, add stereotype, create a custom toolbox, add toolbox page, or add diagram extension. So over here, we need to create a stereotype element and a stereotype connector. For that, we can just use this add stereotype, click on that, drag and drop into the diagram. So this is where you give the business process, the name of the stereotype, where I'm going to give it as a business process. So, and since it is an element extension, click on add meta class. Over here, you have all the UML extensions. So now I'm going to select the activity and just click on OK. And now, once the activity is selected, you can see the properties that's been displayed over here. For each stereotype element, you can set the properties under the stereotype or the meta class. Say, or you can also have the same name for the meta type. And if you want your stereotype element to be in some size, you can just specify the size over here. Or if you want a specific icon, you can select an icon image over here. You need to give the URL specified where your image is being stored. And if you come to the right side for the meta class, here are the other attributes we set over here, like make composite. So if I give it as a true, my business process stereotype element will have a diagram incorporated into it. And you can also specify the inherited attributes, whether it need to be displayed or not, or whether the package attributes or private attributes, all these stuffs you can give it over here, whether if you require in your MDG and for your element. The next step is to define a tag value for business process. For that, you need to predefine the tag values in the configure UML types. And if you have configured the tag values before, you can get those tag values by right-clicking on this workspace, and you need to select Add Specialized Tag Value and click on Predefined. So for an example, I have just have 3 tag values in this model. I'm just clicking it on one by one. Again, right-click, Add Specialized Predefined Business Unit and category. So now for me, for the business stereotype, I have 3 tag values. And once it is up, adding all the tag values, just click on next. And if you want to add any shape script, you can just go ahead and click the edit button and you can add it, and then click on finish. So if you click on after the finish button, now you can see two things. This is a stereotype element and this is a meta class element. As I said, just right click on the stereotype element, click on the edit profile. So whatever the attributes that has been given in the stereotype, that will be displayed under this element, like business process stereotype element. And whatever the attributes that is going to give it over here, that will be displayed in the meta class. Say if you want to add more attributes other than which has been displayed in the profile helper, then what you can do is I'll just have an help document over here from Sparx Systems. So this is where you can give the special attributes for the element stereotypes. Under the stereotype elements, you can give these properties. And if you want to give any shape script, just copy this and paste it in the attribute. And same way, you can also do it the same for meta class element attributes. Say for example, over here, I just want to use the hide UML links. So what I need to do is just copy this, go to your model, and we know that it is in a meta class. You need to paste this at a meta class element as an attribute, right? So just click on meta class. Over here, you can see the list of attributes. Just paste what you have copied over here. And in the initial value, just try true. So this is how you go ahead and add the attributes for the business process. So hide UML link, it's nothing but it won't display the unwanted connectors like all the UML stuff connectors. It only shows the connectors which are there in the UML links, that which we have defined in the UML for in between the two stereotypes. So once we have defined the stereotype element, the same process can be used for defining the connectors. Either you can use the same procedure like add stereotype, or you can go by adding a stereotype along. And I'm just giving it as EAGS underscore association. And I also need to drag and drop the meta class. Now I'm looking at for the connectors and for the association connector, right? So click on OK. Now, what I have to do is from the stereotype to the meta class, you need to draw an extension connector. So this is how it works. Same process as for the element, you can add attributes and you can go ahead and refer the same link. Same for the meta class too. And the next step over here is for the business process, what you have to think is, say I'm going to extend this business process from Archimate 3. So for that, I just need to click a meta class and drag it over here. And in this, you have a stereotype options. And if you see here, you can have a list of frameworks. From this, I'm just clicking on Archimate 3. And I'm selecting business process. Here it is. Okay. Now, what I have to do next is you need to create a generalization connector. So now the Archimate business process is generalized to the business process over here. So whatever the properties you have for the Archimate business process, that will be reflected into the business process stereotype that we have created. So now we have created a business process, a stereotype connectors and a stereotype element. And the best practice over here is we can just rename this diagram into profile and go ahead and create another diagram and just rename it to connectors. So in the connectors, we can just drag and drop the association that we have drawn. Right? Yeah. So once you go ahead and create a stereotype element and a profile and a connector, the next step you need to do is you need to go ahead and create another diagram for the quick linker. You can have a class diagram and click OK. So in the quick linker diagram, what we need to do is we just need to drag and drop the stereotype element that we have created. Okay, so we need, so for example, in here we have just created just one element with the time constraints. We also have an example or a peer architecture MDG wherein we have created the profiles as I showed in the example model with different layers, right? So this is how we have created for each and every layers for vision business and for upcoming layers. So here, what we have done is I have added the hide UML links for each and everything, and I have also added the tag values, and we have extended the to Archimate 3. So if you see in my profile, I have used Archimate 3, and I have used the BPMN activity, and also I have used the UML and the strategic maps frameworks. So I have mostly I have used for about 4 frameworks, right? Then next, so once this is completed, like profile is created, connector is created, and the quick link, it's the same process that you need to drag and drop all the stereotypes, and you need to give the connector stereotype. So over here in the in the toolbox under the meta model, you can see 3 connectors, namely meta constraints, meta relationships, and the stereotype relationships. Meta constraints, it's nothing but defining the rules or the constraints for the model. Whereas the meta relationship defines the UML connectors like aggregation, association, so on. And the stereotype relationship is nothing but the relationship that we have defined in the connectors diagram. So if you see in my connector diagram, these much of the diagram that we have created. And using these stereotypes, we have created, say for example, if you're just going to use a stereotype relationship, just double click on the connector and go to the tab. You can see a tag name stereotype. Over here, you need to give the stereotype connector name. So in our example, I think I created like EAGS underscore association, right? So the exact name need to be given over here. And if you're just going to use a meta relationship, you need to, in the tag section, you'll be having a name called meta class, where you need to give the exact name which is given in the UML, like aggregation or association, anything. Okay, so over here we have used both stereotype relationships and the meta relationships. So once this profile has been created, the next step is to create a toolbox. I prefer, after doing the profile creations, we can just go ahead and create a toolbox. I'll let you know why it is. So in the toolbox sessions, we have a add toolbox page. You can just drag and drop this into the diagram workspace. The name, you need to give the toolbox name. This name will be displayed on the top of the toolbox. And just click on this add button. all the profile elements that we have created, the stereotypes element will be displayed. So just go ahead and select the stereotype business process that we have created now. Click on OK and give a name to it. Business process. This name will be displayed inside the toolbox. Maybe under the business layer, if you want, you can just create it as you wish. And now we have added the stereotype element, and you should also add the connector type too. Only then the quick linker will be executed. So these are the we'll be forgetting to add the connectors. If it is a stereotype element, we'll be adding it without any issues. But if you are going to mention any meta relationships, then you have to add the meta relationship that you have specified in the diagram. I mean, in the quick linker diagram. And if you just click on OK, same way you have a meta class and a stereotype. Save this. Now go ahead and create a diagram profile. Double click on the diagram profile, and same way you have a add diagram extension, right? So drag and drop. So over here you need to give the diagram name. That's nothing but sorry, business layer. Here you can choose either it can be a class diagram or it can be an activity diagram. That's depends upon our meta type. Let me go ahead and choose the activity over here. And why did I ask you to do first toolbox and then the diagram is in the toolbox profile, if you just go ahead and first create the diagram, the toolbox will not be displayed. So for that reason, I just want you to create a toolbox and then go for the diagram profile so that you can select the exact toolbox name that has been displayed. Right? Yeah. So this is another step that usually we just go ahead and forget to select the toolbox names. If you go ahead with like profile diagrams and the toolbox. And underneath you have the diagram appearance, features, elements, and connectors. So actually, what are these attributes are? I'll just open another repository. Say this is another repository. I'm sorry, which is the one MDG. I think this is the one. Nope. This is the one. I'm really sorry. 1 minute. Yeah. So same thing. I'll just do it again. Features. Okay. So these are the diagram appearance, right? Elements and connectors, right? So where are these is from? When you just go ahead and open up an MDG repository and click on the diagram properties, you can see these options like hand drawn over here, whiteboard, and same way if you just go ahead and click on the elements, you have the show compartments side like tags, attributes, operations, and that has been displayed over here. And for the connectors, you have like show a relationship or freeze visible, all the stuff you have it over here, right? So this is what I just need to show you. And if you just don't need, and if you want to suppress all the connector for each and everything, you just need to give a value for this. So that if you go ahead and open up an MDG And with the help of that MDG name, if you just go ahead and create it, then by default, these properties will be applicable to that diagram. Click on OK. I'll just expand this. So now I think you can see, as the same way, you have business layer and a meta class. Same as for element stereotype, you also have the help document for creating the attributes for the diagram types. So other than the diagram type that you want to give the value, you can also add it directly to the attributes. But here, the one step what you can do it over here is you need to add any of these attributes into the diagram meta class element. So I'll just show you one example. How do you go ahead and add it? Say, for example, I have just selected the height stereotype equal to 0. This means to show the element stereotype in the diagram, right? So now I'll just go ahead, open, click on this meta class. I hope I have just closed the attributes. Okay. So now I'll just, I'm sorry, here you're not supposed to paste the value that you have copied. You just need to type in the value over here, p data. Okay, and in the value, initial value, you need to paste it. So now you can see in the meta class, you have the p data that has been enabled in high stereotype that's equal to 0. The another way that you can do it is, I'll just show, yeah, so another way you can just do it is, I'll just create a model over here. I'm sorry, I'll create another root node. Say just giving it name as a test. And just create a package or a diagram. Click on OK. Just drag and drop a class diagram over here. Just save it. And now just go to the Find dialog box and just click it over here. Select Start from T diagrams. Okay, and just if you execute it, you will see the p data attributes, and also you can see the stylex attributes. So what you can do is just create a new repository, just create a class diagram and execute it. Since I have the model over in the top, it's giving me more information. So if you're going to create with a new repository, it'll just show you the single informations, wherein you can just copy this into an notepad or notepad++, and you can just find it out how this has been differed. Like if you just click on this diagram types, and if you say that in the element, I just before that, just let's go and see what is the value that we have kept in p data. Oh yeah, so if you see here for the p data, inside the p data you have a stereotype, high stereotype e equal to 0, right? So now what I'm going to say is just click on this elements, show element stereotypes. I just need to turn it off, right? Now once again, I'll just save it. And if I once again execute this, and if you see here, you can see that height A stereotype is equal to 1. So actually, this is in a simple way to get the attributes that how we want. You can just design a diagram page and execute and run it in the find in project, and you can get all the stereotypes. So this is in another way, right? So I just want to show that. So I'll just delete this project root. I'm sorry, I just need to delete the packages first. It's because I'm just going to execute it, the MDG. I don't want any other root node that need to be in this repository. So now we have also defined the diagram layer. The next step, what we can do it over here is we just need to go to the profile for defining the view specifications. View specification, it's nothing but defining the sub diagrams. So for that, click on the profile, create a new diagram and name it as views. And click OK. I think we can save all. Okay. So now in the view specification diagram, what do we need to do is we just need to open up the diagram profile. Under which diagram we need to create a sub diagram. Say for example, over here we have a stereotype called a business layer, right? So I'm just dragging from the project browser and dropping it into the diagram space, and I'm just clicking it on OK. So this is the stereotype. This is the parent diagram. So how do you go ahead and create a child diagram? In the toolbox, you have a view specification options, right? So just drop it in the diagram and just give a name, say for example, business layer 1. So this will be your child diagram. How many ever base specifications or how many ever child diagrams you want, you can create it. So the next step that you have to do is using the quick linker, just drag to the parent diagram and select the extension connector. And the next step you have to do is using the expose connector, you need to define what are the stereotypes you want in this sub diagram. So over here, since I have created only one stereotype, I'll just click this and drop it over here. I'm sorry. Yep. And using the same quick linker, I'm just going to give the expose connector. Same thing even over here. Once you give the stereotype, you have to give its relevant connector. So I'm just dragging the association connector that we have created, and we need to give the expose connector. So this is how actually we go ahead and create a sub diagrams. Okay, so in the example model under PL architecture, we have created it under profiles, under view specifications. Under PL architecture, we have created different sub layers like business layer, application layer, information, and the technology layers. So for business layer, these are the connectors that we need to display, and these are the elements that we need to display. So that's been given using the expose connector. So this is the simplest way to create a sub diagram in MDG. So as a glance, we have created a profile connector, EA quick linkers, view specifications, diagrams, and the toolboxes, right? And another point over here in the toolbox is if you are going to create a single toolbox, then you can go ahead and save it as an UML profile package. So, okay, I'll let you know while saving. So the next step is, since we have created all the diagrams and stereotypes and the connectors, the next step is we are just need to go under the specialized ribbon, just click on the profile. Under specialized ribbon, click on publish tech and save that as publish package as UML profile. And the profile name is the same name over here. And we need to save it as I'm just saving it as a profile.xml, and click on save button. Overwriting, yep, fine. And then the same thing for the diagram, you need to follow the same process. Publish package as diagram profile. But for the toolbox, since we need a multiple toolbox in our MDG, what you need to do is we just need to save this as a diagram UML profile. So for that, what you need to do is just double click on the diagram, open that, just click on the workspace, and then go ahead and save the diagram. And for the diagram, the name should be the same name as an application layer, like a PL architecture application layer. Okay, and then click as save. So for this, each and every step, you just need to open up the diagram, just click on the workspace, and then go ahead and save it as diagram profile. So once we save all these profiles, we have the next step is we need to generate the MDG technology. So how do you go ahead and generate the technology? Just click on next. If you're going to execute it as a first time, you can create a new MTS file. Since we have done this before, we have it over here. And click on next, next. And this is another important information that you need to give is the technology name and the MDG profile. This is where the profile will be imported with this name, like PL_architecture. This name will be imported in the resource tab. And ID, version, and notes are the mandatory field that you need to give. And make sure the ID is not duplicated with the frameworks that we have in the Enterprise Architect tool. Then next, click on next, and over here, these things that you can incorporate into the MDG technology. The first one is the profile that we have done, diagram types, toolbox, and the tagged values. And for example, we have just added one script and one search, and I have also added one RTF template. That's nothing but in document generation, you just go ahead and create a template, right? That has been saved. So I just want that template to be in my MDG so that when I import the MDG into another repository, I want those search options and those scripts and those document templates, right? So now go ahead and click on next. Just give the profile, the path where you have saved. If you just give that, it will display all the XMLs that you have just now saved it, right? So on the right side, only the profile XML need to be displayed. Since it's a profile file selection, only the profile XML need to be displayed on the right-hand side. Click on next. Only the diagram profile has to be displayed over here. And now the toolbox section. Since we have around 6 toolboxes, so we need to have all the 6 toolboxes in the right hand side, and then click on next. And these are the tag value that we have defined in this model. Click next, and over here, just for an example, we just created a single template. If you have more templates in your MDG, all the templates will be displayed. What you need to do is just check or uncheck the option, whichever templates that you require. Then click on next. Script, that's what the same thing. We had just to have a single script. Whatever the script that you require, just check or uncheck the unwanted script that you don't need to be there in the MDG. And this is the search options. Search option is nothing but while we go ahead and create in the find in project, we'll go ahead and create type in the queries, right, for in the SQL search pad. So all those right now I require all those search type. Finish. So now we have completed the generating the MDG technology. And the next step, what we need to do is, I hope we have seen with the profile helpers, and we also gone through with the quick linkers and diagram toolbox and publish view specifications, right? and we've also generated with the MDG technology. Now the next step is we need to go ahead and create a model pattern. How do you go ahead and create a model pattern? So this is the steps, right? Go ahead and open up a new repository and add in the MDG that we have created and generate an XML and RTF file and paste those data into the app data. That is nothing but the file path that we have it over here. And at last, you need to open up the MDG profile, okay? And you need to paste this model template. I'll just show you how to do that over here. So since we have done all the steps, we have generated the MDG. The next step is we need to go ahead with the model patterns, right? Since I have done over this over here, I'll also show you once again. In the resource tab, I have added the PL architecture just by right-clicking, import technology, and you need to go ahead and add the PL architecture XML file. Okay, since I have imported, I'm just clicking on cancel. So once the architecture, the MDG is being imported into the repository, the next thing is we just need to go ahead and structure the model, like how we require. Say for example, we require as a business domain with the business capability, customer journey, or organization chart, or operational process. Under business capability, how many capabilities levels we have? Since in our tool we have 3 capabilities, L0, L1, and L2, that has been displayed over here. And at last, we also need a capability view, right? So this is a basic structure that we have defined. So what is a model? Model pattern is whenever anyone wants to design the business domain, they just need to come here and click on the business domain and generate the basic folders, right? So for that, what you need to do is just click on the business domain, under publish, export the XML. So this is where I have added all the XML files. Okay, we just need to export the business domain. I'll just show you. Yep. So over here, I have all the XML files like application domain, business domain, information domain, and technology. And the next step, what you have to do is select this business domain, and under the generate documentation, just generate a RTF file. The same time to be an RTF file with the same name that is mostly preferable, like a business domain. Okay, so that is what I have done over here in the package. With the same name, I have created an XML file and then RTF file. So what is the next step you have to do is just copy all these files, right? And go to percentage app data, where you need to go to Sparx systems, EA, and model pattern. So since if you're going to create the first time, you'll not be having this model pattern package. For that, you need to create a new package and name it as model pattern, and double click on it and just paste all the files that you have copied over there. That's it. So now we have done with the model pattern. No, one more step is left. I'm sorry. So what I have to do it over here is just go to the place where we have saved the MDG, right? This one. Right click on it, click on edit with notepad. So this is our MDG profile. Just drag down. Over here, before /MDG technology, just press an enter button. I told you like a template, model template, where you need to have the name and the same name with the XML. Just copy this. This you can create how many ever XMLs or RTF files you can create, and you just need to paste it one again another. So over here, just paste the model template, right? And save it, close it. That's it. Yeah. So now what you need to do is, again, you need to remove this. You need to remove this technology, and you need to update the MDG profile with the model pattern. Since I have already had with all the model patterns, right? So I think I don't need to. So now what I need to is just go to the model wizard, and in the perspectives under specialized, you have model technologies. So the model wizard will be shown what we have created over here. If I'm going to click the technology, so this is the RTF file, and just creating a pattern. So you can see the two technology names, the two packages that's been created. So this is a model pattern. So this is how you just need to go for the model pattern. And the last thing is nothing but how do you incorporate the MDG into the Prolaborate. So let's go ahead and check that too. Yeah, this is my Prolaborate. And what I need to do is I just need to go click on this, and I need to open up the modeling language. Oops, no issues. Yep, modeling language. And over here, just click on add modeling language over here. And choose file. This is the same MDG file that we need to choose, that that we have chosen in EA. Okay, so it's in the C drive. This is the one. And now I need to click on add modeling language. Yeah. So this error, it's nothing but we need to add the strategic map. That's nothing but this is our MDG, right? So in this MDG, as I said, I have Archimate 3, UML, BPMN, and the strategic map. And in Prolaborate, by default, you'll be having like Archimate 3, BPMN, and UML frameworks. But it will not be having strategic map, where you need to go ahead and add the strategic map first, and then go ahead and add our MDG profile. So for that, just go ahead and choose that file. It will be under C drive. Sparx Systems, EA, and MDG Technologies. And this is where you have. Okay. Now add this modeling language. So we have it over here. And now again, go ahead and add our MDG. Choose file. Okay. This one. Great. So now we have added the MDG in our Prolaborate using PL architecture, and that requires strategics too. So this is how we go ahead and add the MDG in Prolaborate. And the next thing here is, say, we can also manage the MDG from this point, right? Just click on edit and it will display whatever the stereotypes and the connectors that's been displayed over here. And what I want over here is I just want to or say if you we can go ahead and example with capability, right? So I just want to see the settings of capability. Okay. So fine. I think I need to refresh it. Or I think I'll go with business roles, stakeholders. Yep, we'll just go with the biz applications, okay? Where you have a bunch of tag values over here. So in this, since we have a bunch of tag values, what I need to do is I just don't want to show these tag values. Or, yep. Okay, so a service name, active user account, application type, architecture type, or the, just for an example, I'll just go ahead and click on save and update the profile. Now just click on the home button. Model. First domain will be in the application repository, application domain. It's business applications, right? So now, okay, when I click here, the attributes, it doesn't show the attributes that we have hidden over there. It displays the other attributes. So this is how overall in Prolaborate we can handle the tag values. Yeah. So this is easy steps like how we have incorporated the MDG into the Prolaborate. And the last thing is these are the common mistakes that we will be making while generating an MDG. In the profile, say for example, you have created an MDG, and after generating an MDG, you want to change the name of the tag value. What you need to do is you can change the tag value, but the next step that you have to do is you need to synchronize that into the working model toolbox. So in the toolbox, if you right click with that, say for example, for the business process, you have changed the tag values name. You need to go to the toolbox and right click on the business process, and you'll be seeing an synchronize option. Just click on it and synchronize it so that the tags values will be synchronized. But if you want to change the stereotype name, I'm sorry, that will not be synchronized. And same way for the shape script or for anything, just for an example, I just written like underscore image attribute. You have to give this attribute in the stereotype, not in the meta class. And same way, whatever attributes that are specified for the meta class, that has to be given only in the meta class. If you just switched over, that will not work. And the next step is a quick linker. Say for example, when you assign in the stereotype connector or in the relationship stereotype relationship, if you specify the connector name and it's not coming up, then what you need to do is you just need to give the fully qualified name, like the MDG name, : and the connector stereotype name. Okay, and the next point is a view specification. So that's what I said. In view specifications, when you go ahead and give the elements, you also need to give the connectors too. Only then the quick linkers will be working. And the next step is with diagrams. Obviously, if you go with creating profile diagrams in Toolbox, The most option is you'll not be selecting the toolbox name in the diagram. So for that, the preferable is go for toolbox and then come to the diagram profile. Okay. And same thing for the toolbox, you have multiple toolbox, right? So for the multiple toolbox, you need to save with the diagram name. Only then the multiple toolbox will be working fine. And even for the same, if you're going to go ahead and add for the Metamodel, meta relationship connectors, you need to add those meta relationships in the toolbox. Only then it would work. And the last point is model pattern. Model pattern, now it is working fine, right? So if you're going to change or the tag values or something or the other, you're going to change in the MDG, and you just go ahead and generate the MDG, right? So what happens is at the last, we go ahead and pasted the model template, the code, right? That will be gone. So what you have to do is you just again need to go into MDG profile, open it in the notepad and paste the same template, right? Or if you want, you can also go ahead and if you want going to generate another files or folders like RTF files or something else that you need to update that in the model pattern. And another important point is please remove the old XML files if you are going to create a new one. That will cause a big confusion. Clear? Yep. So these are the recommended steps from my side. And these are the steps that you can create a basic steps for creating an MDG. I hope this section was informative and thank you for your valuable time and I really appreciate your patience. For any queries and suggestion, please reach us at team channel. For any business support, please reach us at sales@sparxsystems.in. Thank you.
Perfect. So thank you so much for you, Ajnisha. So it was overall an informative session. Okay, so the attendees have got a deeper insight about the topic today. Okay, so and thank you so much again. So thanks for the attendees and the participants. Okay, so it's really great that we were engaging really good. Okay, so perfect. So before we move off, so Ajinisa will be available on the Teams screen. Okay, so sorry, Teams channel. Okay, so so that you will be able to reach her out if you would like to discuss anything. Okay, so and along with that, if you have any questions or any concerns, you are welcome to drop an email to registrations@eaglobalsummit.com. Okay, perfect. So, and we'll be reaching you out very shortly with hosting upcoming session soon. And thank you so much again. And thanks, Ajanisha.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.